Hello, my name is Scott Davis. Welcome to New World Birth. This is the weekly neutrino forecast for February 7th to February 13th of 2016. And on February 7th, we have the sun. You can see it denoted here by this black circle with a dot in it. It's an Aquarius. It's also in the 13th hexagram. And on the outside of the wheel, we've got the chop mark for the 13, numbered from bottom to top. The 13 goes yang, yin, yang. Yang, yang, yang. And then the 13th hexagram is mapped to an opening in an energy channel called a gate. And right here, this is the 13th gate of the listener, the fellowship of man, universal ideals and values in an ordered framework which inspires humanistic cooperation. Located in the G center in an abstract collective energy path in the sensing circuit called the channel of the prodigal, a design of the witness that connects to the 33rd gate of privacy, retreat, active withdrawal, and the transformation of a weak position into strength. And I found human design to be amazingly accurate in describing the person that I use it as my primary tool when I provide readings. And we've got the following activated gates on February 7th. We have the suns in the 13th gate with the earth in the 7th gate. The north node is in the 47th gate with the south node in the 22nd gate. Mercury is in the 61st gate. Venus is in the 54th gate. Mars is in the 1st gate. We have Jupiter retrograde in the 47th gate along with the north node. Saturn is in the 5th gate. Uranus is in the 51st gate. Neptune is in the 37th gate. And Pluto is in the 54th gate along with Venus. So obviously not every gate activation forms a channel, but this information can be very helpful if you know your own human design chart, because some of these transits will form channels with potentials in your personal body graph. And as we begin the week, there's no channel definitions due to the transit field. February 7th begins with the sun in the 5th line of the 13th hexagram. The sun in the 13.5 is described as the savior, the ability to overcome all obstacles for the betterment of humanity. Exalted, the charismatic genius who can find a role for everyone. The listener who has a gift for finding a role for others. Detriment, the able administrator. Given the extreme positive nature of this position, mundane applications are rare. The listener whose gift for finding a role for others is practical and suited for administration. And then later on the 7th, the sun then moves into the 6th line of the 13th hexagram. And this shift happens at 2:17 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The sun in the 13.6 is the optimist, the ability to accept any limited interaction as a necessary step towards greater union. Exalted, the energy to persevere. Unlimited hope, the hope that openness will lead to a better relationship. Detrimented, naivete, the translation of mutual interest into universality, the belief that mutual interest can be projected on others. And then on the 8th, the sun then moves out of the 13th hexagram, and it moves into the 49 over here at the solar plexus. Let's see. And also the earth moves at the same time, and it moves out of the 7, and it moves up to the 4 in the Ajna center. So we have the earth in the 4th hexagram and the gate of formalization, youthful folly, the energy to beguile and succeed despite ignorance, freedom from retribution. And this shift happens at 12:28 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, so just 28 minutes after midnight Eastern Standard Time. With that, we have the sun. It's in the 49th gate of principles, revolution, ideally transformation of forms based on the highest principles and not simply for power. And the sun is detrimented in the first line of the 49, which is a law of necessity. Revolution has no support unless it's perceived as necessary. Detrimented the misuse of influence to insist that necessity can be created out of actions. The helter-skelter syndrome, to commit acts of disorder as proof that disorder exists. Oversensitivity to rejection that can turn a principle into a crusade. And as we continue into the Rave New Year, the shift of the sun into the 49th gate is about resources. And as you might remember from 2 weeks ago when the sun entered the 19th gate, this is the stream of needs. And the 49 makes people very uncomfortable because it's the solar plexus, it's emotional, it carries fear. And fear can be a tremendous motivator in the not-self world. It brings the fear of not having enough resources, a fear of nature, a fear of God. It brings the need to control animals, particularly mammals. Ross said this is about not fooling yourselves in terms of what's possible for you and what, in fact, you truly need. So what do you have what you need? Do you know what you need to have a foundation for moving into the coming year? This is part of the part of our process, and we'll see it in others around us. All over the world, there are problems with resources, and the sun in the 49 brings even more focus on resources. It's also the gate of revolution, which excuse me, brings the call for we don't have enough, we need more across the planet. Following your strategy and authority is to see clearly what you need and to be clear about what is possible and let go and watch and just and the flow, follow the flow. Later on the 8th, the sun then moves into the second line of the 49th hexagram. Then this shift happens at 10:41 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so an hour and 19 minutes before midnight on the 8th Eastern Standard Time. And the sun in the 49-2 is described as the last resort, exalted, the determination to exhaust every possible peaceful avenue for change, and then when satisfied that no other course is possible, to plan in detail before revolution is attempted, the potential to explore every possibility before reacting. Detrimented the overwhelming revolutionary urge that is impatient with accommodation and negotiation. The tendency here is the coup d'etat that has little general support, impatience and with accommodation. And then also on the 8th, Mars moves out of the first hexagram and gate and into the 43rd. So this is having Mars in the gate of insight, breakthrough. In order for achievement to be maintained, a new order must be fairly established. And Mars in the first line of the 43 is patience, exalted the recognition that new forms cannot be established until resistance has been eliminated. The depth necessary to bring into form an individual insight, detrimented and impatience to enjoy the sweets of accomplishment that leaves a sour taste in the mouth. A delight in the insight, but a lack of depth to establish it. And Ross spoke about Mars being an extraordinary, immature energy resource that lacks refinement and is subject to outbursts. And something we see with the 43rd is blurting. So we might hear people blurting a lot once Mars is in that 43rd gate and hexagram. On the 9th, the sun then moves into the third line of the 49 at 54 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The sun in the 49.3 is popular discontent, exalted, the ability to destroy antiquated forms once the restrictions have been removed, the potential insensitivity to reject failed principles or relationships, detrimented with general support, the savageness in eliminating the old order that may permanently scar the new, and insensitivity in rejecting and rejection. Also on the 9th, we have Venus moving out of the 54, leaving behind Pluto, and moving into the 61, where it's joining Mercury. And in human design, Venus is about values, morality, natural law, in which we deal with the other and the consequences of the world around us. And Venus is in the 61st gate of mystery, inner truth, the awareness of universal underlying principles. And Venus is detrimented in the first line of the 61, which is occult knowledge, detrimented where a reliance on secret knowledge is increasingly demands ascetic withdrawal and leads eventually to obscurity, where the pressure to know the mysteries can be so strong that one can be eventually incapable of handling esoteric realities. The 10th, the sun then moves into the 4th line of the 49th hexagram at 7:07 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where the sun in the 4th line of the 49 is described as platform, exalted, a political and social agenda embodied in guarantees to human rights that ensures a just and valued replacement of the old order, a potential sensitivity to the needs of society, detrimented promises, and only to guarantee support with little possibility of implementation, the potential to insensitivity to take advantage of the needs of society. And then also on the 10th, Mercury moves out of the 61, it's leaving Venus behind, and it moves into the 60 down here at the root center. As we talked about before, in mythology, Mercury was the messenger of the gods. So this is really about communication and expansion of human consciousness through communication, not just as words, but also as music, according to Ra. And this is the gate of acceptance, limitation. The acceptance of limitation is the first step in transcendence. And Mercury is detrimented in the first line of the 60, of acceptance, detrimented the drive for diversity. When limited can become restless and agitated, restless energy when confronted with external limitations. And then on the 11th, the sun then moves into the 5th line of the 49 at 5:21 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The sun in the 49.5 is described as organization, exalted, practical provisions for the needs of others in revolutionary times, which ensures support and continued understanding, a potential sensitivity to the practical needs of others, detrimented a concentration on organization of power to clearly define authority, often at the expense of higher principles, the rejection of higher principles in seeking to organize others. And then on the 12th, the sun then moves up into the 6th line of the 49th hexagram at 3:35 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The sun in the 49.6 is attraction, the power of revolution in action to expand support, exalted, the innate impressionability that transforms the fence sitter into the committed, the sensitivity and potential to embrace and transform others, detrimented, stubborn, and often fatal rejectionism, oversensitivity that leads to rejection of principles and others as a rule. And then on the 13th, the sun then moves out of the 49 and it moves to the 30. And the earth moves from the 4 to the 29. So we have the Earth in the 29th hexagram and the gate of saying yes, the abysmal, the deep within the deep. Persistence despite difficulties has inevitable rewards. And this shift happens at 1:50 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with the sun in the 30th gate of recognition of feelings, the clinging fire. Freedom recognized as illusion and limitation accepted as fate. And the sun is exalted in the first line of the 30, which is composure, balance in the face of disorder, exalted, the maximization of limitation in all cases, stability through feelings no matter what the situation. As we continue into the rave new year, the shift of the sun into the 30th gate, the clinging fire, which is really about closing, it's the closing stage of the opening of the New Year cycle. This is the point that, according to Ra, the power to get things going is really finds a point, in a sense, of direction. A few weeks ago, we looked at the Rave New Year, which begins with the sun's entry into the 41st hexagram. So the 30 is the harmonic gate that continues the life force that was initiated in the 41 in the human experiential way through the channel of the recognition through feelings. And the 30th gate is the gate of the fates. Its polarity, the 29, is the gate of saying yes. And sometimes I think about the 30th gate as the gate of saying no, or at very least not the way you expect. It's seductive because it's a gate of emotional desire, moving the wave of desire that burns the desire. So it's the way moving in a wave as a desire that burns to a desire that cools as it rises and falls. This is an abstract process that doesn't follow a pattern like its mirror image, the 1858. And this has the 41 under pressure from the root saying, I'd really like to have this experience, and I'm willing to do this and this and this to get it. And then the 30th gate, it says, nah, you got to find another way. Under the influence of the 30, it's important to cut through desire and see what's going to be in the way, to see the obstacles. According to Ra, once we identify the obstacles, the 30 gate is how we're are going to accept life, to accept what's going to work the way that it's not going to work the way we thought, in seeing that what we have to deal with, and we find out and we find our way, even if it's not the way that we thought we would go. So really honoring your strategy and authority will provide you with the compass to navigate the transition, this transition with ease. So thank you for checking out New World Birth. The next segment of the weekly neutrino forecast will be on February 14th of 2016, should be available on the 13th, when we'll continue to look at the transit of the heavenly bodies through the sky and the hexagrams of the I Ching. You can check us out on Facebook, Blogger, or YouTube, and I encourage you to share this information as videos or as text as widely as you choose, and invite you to contact me at newworldbirth@yahoo.com if you have any questions or you wish to schedule a reading. And if you've been thinking about getting a reading, please contact me. I would love to provide you a reading during these uncertain times. You'll need to be able to either call me in Maine in the USA, or we can connect with Skype to receive your reading. We're also accepting donations to keep these reports freely available, and emailing me at newworldbirth@yahoo.com is one way that I can tell you how to make a donation or get a reading. That's another way that's really helps us out here. As always, I'm blessed that you've taken the time to connect with my passion for these ancient mysteries and their application to our journey during this incarnation. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste in Lakesh, and as Ra would say, love yourself. All my best to everyone, and looking forward to connecting with you in the future.